We'll get started.
There we
Great.
go.
Well, welcome everybody, and this will go out by video to the people who couldn't make it. So welcome to all of you as well. I'm going to introduce myself and Lisa and Laura, and then we'll get started and talk about the program. So Lisa and I together, we are the Wayfaring Writers. I am Cami Ostman, and I run a business called The Narrative Project that helps writers get their books done. And Lisa is
Sidekick Press, hybrid publishing company, and Silent Sidekick website design.
And then we have with us Laura Mazer, who is an agent with Wendy Sherman Associates. Is that how you say it? And she's been coming with us from the beginning of our Wayfaring Writers trips and supports writers while we're all together in thinking through their publishing routes and thinking through back flap copy and whatever else you want to talk to her about. So we're very excited to be going this December back to Oaxaca, Mexico. And so we're going to pull up a PowerPoint and share a little bit about Oaxaca and why we're going, and we'll answer questions. And Tori, right now anyway, you're the only participant going. So feel free to ask any questions that you have, and we'll definitely answer questions that we know other people have asked in case nobody else shows up live. So let me share my screen here. Oh, there's my yurt. That's what I really want, though. Okay. So we call these literary adventures. Lisa and I are avid travelers, and we share some similar views on how traveling is best experienced. And we share views on how we believe that travel supports writers in honing their skills. So a few years ago, I don't know how many years ago, Lisa, we formed a business called Wayfaring Writers, and this will be our 4th trip.
Yeah, we formed it in 2019.
We formed it in 2019, but we couldn't go anywhere in 2020.
Right.
So our first one was to Oaxaca in 2021, Oaxaca again in 2022. Then last year we went to Valparaiso, Chile, and this year we're back to Oaxaca. And we're cooking up some other trips too. We're always coming up with ideas. Yeah. All right. So we'll just start with this great quote from Henry James. A writer is one on whom nothing is lost. So as writers, we hone experiential skills that other people don't have they have the luxury to ignore. So for example, a lot of people might walk through a street like this and just wander through, and they will notice whatever draws their eye. But a writer will be thinking, how would I describe this in words? So Lisa and I have the feeling that travel really pulls you out of your your normal, what's automatic for you, and invites you to observe on a really deep level. Traveling also insists that you be curious. You certainly can vacation without being very curious. You can take yourself to a 5-star hotel and live, with extra luxury. Nothing wrong with that. And meet all kinds of other people who are from the same country that you're from. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. But when you travel, you have to get curious. Like, why do people do things this way? Or, how the heck do I flush this toilet? Because the lever's not in the same place it is at home. So curiosity invites you to expand, again, even expand further your observation. Here's the rain outside my window. So when you travel, you're using the self as a conduit for meaning making, which we're normally doing anyway, but because you're plucked out of your familiar, you're forced to do it if you are at all thinking about how might I convey this experience later to someone else, which is what writers do. We convey things. So, and then this last bullet point here is writers are sort of uniquely designed to tie the universal with the personal. So you have a personal experience, yes, and then you expand it. Well, but what does this mean to me in a bigger context, or potentially to other people in their contexts? So Lisa and I are really committed to travel. We really believe that it's best lifestyle for us to expand as human beings and to improve as writers. So we want to invite you along if you're interested in coming. So why Oaxaca? This is going to be our third time back there. This is going to be like my sixth time in the last 3 years. So Oaxaca is a really special place. Not only is it a colorful environment, and I have here from shops to landscapes to painted doors, Oaxaca has this incredible combination of old, sort of like old Spanish feel and really modern art. Like this piece of art back here is from Oaxaca. And there's just nowhere that you go in Oaxaca where you're not going to have your senses fully stimulated. I'm already thinking about the restaurants that I'm going to go to when I'm down there next week. It's just like everything, that your sights, that what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, the feel of the air. Oaxaca's a really particular place. There's incredible heritage and architecture there. Ruins even. I don't know if I have a picture of the ruins in here or not, Lise. Oh, I do.
There
So
it is.
what's that?
I said, there it is.
There it is. Yeah. This is Monte Alban. So this is one of the ruins that that we visit when we go there. There's two places that we usually go. This is one of them. And this is spectacularly large. It's not, you don't have to hike to it like Machu Picchu. You can drive right up, but it's every bit as sacred feeling when you get in there. Mexican culture is not a singular culture, just as here in the United States or up in Canada, it's not just one culture. Oaxaca has a very particular culture in terms of its food and the way that it celebrates holidays, the traditions, and the mezcal. So Oaxaca is a really special, I think, culture inside of, and even Oaxaca is not just one culture. There's sort of the culture of the city, and then there are the indigenous cultures around. I think it's one of the most fascinating little areas. Anything else you want to add to that, Lisa, about why Oaxaca?
I think you covered it.
I cover it. How about you, Laura?
You
Anything
did.
else?
Why Oaxaca?
Yeah.
Well, I can give you my own 2 cents on why I think it's a wonderful place for writers to go. In addition to, it's very creativity driven. You see art, you hear music, you're immersed in all the senses. It's colorful, it's lively.
Yeah.
It's also wonderful, as you guys know, when we first started doing these trips, I was not an experienced traveler and was intimidated. I think that's fair. And there's something about Oaxaca that you feel like a true traveler. It doesn't coddle you. It doesn't hold your hand and baby you, but it is very much navigable by new people who are new to traveling or new to traveling in that part of the world. It's very, it will set you right at ease.
Mhm.
And I think it's a wonderful place that will set you at ease. And
Yeah.
you can
I think,
really make the most of being there because it's not difficult to navigate and engage with the people and find your way and find things that delight you.
yeah, and I would also say that like largely it is very safe. I mean, there are a couple of areas where you sort of like don't go out there at night alone, but a lot of our travelers would even just leave the hotel and wander through the square after dark alone because there's just tons of people there. So, and there in December when we go, the last time that they went, they had the crush out before we left, didn't they? So they decorated for Christmas,
Yep.
which you've never seen Christmas decorations until you've seen them in Oaxaca. So I'm not even a big Christmas fan, but I love the decorations down there. So what do we do when we're down there besides obviously experience the place, because that's a big part of travel? we'll talk a little bit about we'll talk about travel writing while we're there, like what travel writing does and doesn't do. Travel writing offers an opportunity for writers to see them or to create stories where they are in contrast with a place that they don't know. So the whole sense of curiosity comes into play. Simply because if you're writing about a place that you're just experiencing for the first time, you know, you're bringing to bear a different lens. But travel offers an opportunity for particular focus on some specific craft work, which is like character study. So you meet somebody and nothing is the same, you know, like the language isn't the same, the way, not nothing, but you know, but there's so many contrasts that you get to really observe people. And I think that traveling has been one of the best ways to support me in developing characters on the page because of that development of the observational skills. Same with place. We will offer some talks about character and setting while we're there. So we'll be doing some instructing, and we will also be offering some prompts because after we go on these trips, we publish anthologies. So everyone has an opportunity to submit something to an anthology and get it published. So we want to make sure that we're offering lots of opportunities for people to be thinking about their travel and to be writing about their travel as we go. Lisa and I will also support you in how to find off the beaten track experiences that will inspire your writing. There's nothing like something completely unusual happening that makes you want to write about it. So I always like to say, you know, whatever doesn't kill you makes for a good story. I like Amanda's way of saying it better, which is that you can either have a good time or a good story. So if you encounter a mishap or you get a little lost or something just doesn't go as you think it should go, there's an opportunity to create a story arc out of that. So we'll talk about how to find those moments, but also how to actually pursue off the beaten track. You know, everybody's going to go to Monte Alban, but not everybody is going to taste a cricket, for example. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. So, and then because we have Laura along, there's a wonderful opportunity here for those of you who come with us to float your book idea past her and to get some feedback and just put your head together with someone who knows the industry really, really well. And Laura does know the industry very well. She's been in publishing for how long, Laura?
Oh, probably 20 years.
20 years as an editor, as an agent, probably other roles too. Yeah. So Laura knows inside and out of the publishing industry. So it's a great opportunity to sort of ask your questions. Because I know for me, when I was first really starting to write long form, like a whole book, first of all, I didn't really know how to write a book. I also didn't know the business of writing. You need to know both, really. So this is a great opportunity to get support in both of those areas to come on this trip with us. This is our hotel. We stay in a place called Casona, Oaxaca. That's where I'll be staying when I'm down there. And you can see it's got this beautiful big open courtyard, and then the rooms are like around the mezzanine and then below the mezzanine. So breakfast is served out here, and there's a bar that opens, I don't know what time, 2, 3 in the afternoon and stays open till 10, something like that. So you can get a drink if you want to. Although Lisa and I always first thing go and buy a bunch of wine. So we have it on hand for everyone for when we're all back from our adventures, we can sit around and share with one another. I'll stop there, see if there's any questions or if there's anything that anybody wants to add. So Tori, to answer your question that you asked before we started recording about breakfast. So here at this place, breakfast is served every morning, and there's a whole spread. You can order eggs, you can order
Chilaquiles.
yep, chilaquiles, which is like, that's what I always order, right? Isn't it the one I do, Lisa, with the chips and then that have like cheese and drizzle over the top. And then there is fruit, but also oatmeal, yogurt. Yeah.
So there's a combination of European and Oaxacan breakfasts.
I would say mostly Oaxacan dishes, but there's a
Okay.
little bit there for somebody whose palate wants something more familiar. So
Hmm.
yeah, for sure. The breakfast is delicious, I would say. I
No
love
one
it.
should have any trouble finding food that feels good to them.
Yeah.
You don't have to be adventurous. We can encourage you to be adventurous, but you don't have to be. You'll eat
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah,
Well,
you
just the fact that you said you dream about breakfast there, Laura, was like, oh,
You come downstairs from your
what is it?
room. They bring you delicious coffee. They bring you
Mhm.
delicious food. There are all kinds of choices. It's all part of the room. It's just lovely.
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
Couldn't ask
Yeah.
for a better
Uh,
setup.
yeah,
so
okay.
good. So cozy. I mean,
Yeah, I'm actually hoping to expand on the food this year too. While Cammie's down there, she's gonna go out with Alberto and hopefully find a cooking class too that we can all take.
Oh,
A Oaxacan cooking class.
good.
so Alberto is our tour guide, and I met him the first time that I went down there. Just to get away. Lisa and I didn't even have a plan to go to Oaxaca yet. And he's been fantastic at organizing everything for us so that we basically just have to climb into a van. And so I'm going to talk to him about the cooking classes. And I just texted him 2 days ago and said, does anybody dance bachata in Oaxaca? And I got a text back with like several links, and he said, I'll show you where these places are. So he's very responsive and wonderful. So that is our Casona, Oaxaca. The manager of Casona, Oaxaca is now a friend of mine, and he told me we could find you guys another place to stay, but I love this place because it's right next to the square. So it's 1 block from the square. So any place that you want to go is accessible from right here by walking. So here's our itinerary. I will just tell you all, this is totally subject to change because once I get down there next week and I talk with Alberto about what's going on, if there's a big ceremony or something we want to organize around it. But this is roughly how our trips to Oaxaca have gone. So they're 10-day trips. You arrive on the first day. So day 1 is your travel day. So and Lisa will share the dates in a minute. I have calendar deficit disorder, so I always leave that to someone else. So
Thanks for the warning.
yeah, I was giving you the warning. I'm going to shut my window just because I can hear the thunder outside. So day 1 is you'll travel there, you'll get there, and we can talk about ways to get there in a minute and rest. We'll probably go out to dinner together, but it's a no-host dinner that first night. So, but we'll be there to support you. And I mean, unless you already know Oaxaca, you'll want to probably come along with us. So day 2 in the morning, we're going to take a walking tour of Oaxaca so that you can get the lay of the land and get a sense of where everything is. That's just the best way to orient you to everything that first day. Make sure that you know how to get around. And it is mostly on a grid. It's not exactly on a grid, but it's grid-ish. So you can figure out where you are. Of course, we also have our GPSs if we get lost. That's not a bad thing. So in the afternoon, we kind of break this up. So the first part is sort of downtown, and then we'll go also to the aqueducts. It's a big enough city that you want to take your time and have lunch in the middle. And then in the evening, we'll do small group dinners. And so the way that we do that is that we put people in dinner groups, and we have 3 of the best restaurants in Oaxaca. So one night you will go with Laura, and she will take you to one of the best restaurants in town. The next time that we have a cluster dinner, a group dinner, you'll go with Lisa and you'll go to a different restaurant. And the third time you'll go with me and we'll go to yet a third wonderful restaurant. The food in Oaxaca is amazing, amazing. And so basically, we all get to go to all 3 restaurants, and Lisa is the master of figuring out how it is that Laura and I and she don't all have to go to the same restaurant every time. I can't do that math problem in my head, but Lisa can do it. So it's more of a logic problem, really. So we will all get to experience all of these 3 amazing restaurants. And I will say this, that at this point, Lisa and I have additional favorite restaurants that we will recommend for you. So there's a lot of great food and not terribly expensive either. So when you go out, you can go to the best restaurants in town. And even if it's not like a part of the tuition for the trip, you won't be paying a ton of money to go to an amazing restaurant. So, so then in day 3, we'll have class in the morning. So after breakfast, we'll meet, we'll have a talk, we'll talk craft. There's time for writing in the afternoon, and then small group dinners that night as well. So basically the way we have this organized is like a trip or an adventure, and then a day where there's writing and just maybe a 1 or 2 small activities. So there's plenty of time for writing, and you'll be getting prompts as we go. So we'll all be in a WhatsApp group, and I'll send out a writing prompt for the day. And I think I sent out 3 or 4 of them in the course of the trip. So you can write using that writing prompt, or if you're in the middle of a project, you can use that writing time for your own project. No problem at all. Day 4 is a long day at Monte Alban. You're not gonna want to miss that. You're not gonna want to miss that. Don't miss it. What I'm trying to say. Don't miss it. Monte Alban is spectacular and interesting. And so December can be kind of warm. So we'll make sure that we give you, that's a day outside. We'll make sure that we give you what you should bring, but you'll want to bring sunscreen that day, I think. So, and then in that evening, you will have spent all day together. And if you are a writer and you are an introvert, you will want to go to dinner, perhaps with just one of your new friends. So you'll be on your own for dinner that night. Day 5, again, we'll have class after breakfast and some writing time in the afternoon. When you see it says here agent hour, office hours, there will be opportunities to meet one-on-one with Laura for everyone who comes along, to ask her any question that you want to ask. But she will help work your magic, work her magic with your back flap copy, and really support you in thinking through your publishing options. So you'll see that a couple of times on the calendar here. And then in the evening here, there'll be another, on the 5th day, another group. Now, as I said, these nights where we do the group dinners might shift around once I get down there and talk with Alberto. Some of these events might be on different days. And if you sign up to come with us, you'll get the itinerary. So day 6 is textiles, where we'll go and we'll learn about how all of the rugs and the other textiles are made. So this is and we'll do some mezcal tasting that day as well. Official mezcal tasting. We will have done some mezcal tasting beforehand, I'm fairly sure, but we'll go to a mezcal. What do they call it, Lisa?
Mescaleria.
Mescaleria, where they make, is that what they call where they make it? Yeah.
I don't know.
Mezcal
Maybe.
plant. Yeah.
Now I don't know.
Yeah, now
We're
I
gonna
don't.
go to the place where they make the mezcal.
Yes, the place where they make the mezcal, exactly. As Lisa said, we're going to add in a day of cooking. So we may or may not do the optional day here, day 8. Day 7 is a writing day. And and depending on how many people we have, there may be a small group dinner here too. So we'll see. Day 8, there usually is an optional trip to this beautiful petrified waterfall. If we're going to do a cooking class, that may change. So, and we still may try to find an optional day to go to the petrified waterfall, because that can be a really wonderful and fun thing to do. I love it there. It's a long
very cool.
drive.
It's just a bit of a long day.
Yes, it's a long drive.
Yeah.
Out there, and it is beautiful, but it's a long drive out there for maybe an hour and a half there, but it's worth seeing. And then day 9, we'll have a meeting in the morning after breakfast to talk about next steps for the anthology. And we don't actually have to do the COVID tests anymore. If that changes, you know, I mean, it's in there if that changes, but if in the past when we had to do them, we just arranged for someone to come to the hotel, but the last time we were there, we didn't need to do it. So fingers crossed that remains the same, but we'll do what we need to do. And we'll just sort of bring to closure the evening. This evening is a no host dinner, but we've found that most of the time people want to go to dinner together, and then we'll all gather together and have an opportunity for people to read from what they've been working on all week if they want to. We won't force you. And then day 10 is your travel day home. So that's sort of the general itinerary, again, with some subject to change, you know, some of those things. So questions, Tori?
Oh, well, I don't right now. I
Mhm.
mean, you're answering a lot of them, and
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Did I forget anything, Lisa or Laura?
I don't think so. I think you got it all in there.
Okay.
What? Well, I've never been to Mexico. I mean, I know passports, but you don't need a visa, do you?
No. Good
No,
question.
just
You
a
don't-
No.
passport.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah. Yeah. No, I have never been. Yeah.
But you do need a passport, rather than just a passport card. If you're just
Mhm.
driving over the border, you can get away with just the passport card, but you need the actual passport. And it's worth saying for anybody who's watching on video, because there's probably time to expedite if you need a new passport. The passport needs to be valid for
For
6 months
6 months
after
after
the trip.
the end of the trip.
So if the trip ends December 10, for example, you need that passport to be valid through
June,
June or May. Okay, June 10.
May, June.
May.
I don't know.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
now we did have somebody come one time who didn't have a 6-month passport, and luck of the draw, that didn't get caught. We don't want to have to deal with it though. Yeah.
And there's nothing we can do about it if your passport is not valid. There's nothing we can do.
No, nothing we can do. So it just may be that when you get on the plane to come to Mexico, somebody catches it and they're like, yeah, you can't go. So,
Mm.
so just make sure your passport is valid for 6 months after the end date of the trip. Okay. Couple more slides here. So, what the cost of the trip covers and what it doesn't cover. So, Lisa and I will be doing all of the organizing of all of these things, and we'll be paying Alberto to be basically with us for 10 days. So we cover a lot of things in the tuition or the fee. We will send you some books to read in preparation for the trip. That's covered in the cost. The adventure handbook, our handbook that we've written up to give you all the details about everything you should bring. And the handbook covers climate, it covers rules, a little bit of culture, it covers our philosophy of traveling. So you'll get that. All of the tours and entrance fees to any place that we go while on the trip. And therefore breakfast is covered at the hotel every day, and which is why one reason we chose this hotel. And lunch on the days when we're
Adventuring.
out, yeah, when we're adventuring. So lunches are covered on all those days. The classes that we teach and the cluster dinners, the dinners that we do when we're when you're with either Lisa or Laura or me, those are entirely covered, including your drinks. And then the agent consultation with Laura is covered. The lodging is covered. The mezcal and chocolate tastings are covered. So anytime that we're adventuring together, unless you're shopping for something, all of that is taken care of in the cost. So what's not covered is your airfare. You're on your own meals, which is to say when we're not together as a group doing an official thing, but you're just eating because it's lunchtime. And as I said, any of your personal shopping, which is a no-brainer, but you never know. Sometimes people ask funny questions like, do we get a textile on our way out? Yes, if you buy one, you do. then yes. Okay. And then finally, the cost of the trip. So the cost of the trip is $4,497. Again, that covers all of the lodging and everything that I just went over, except for the airfare. So the way that you sign up for it, I'll show you in a minute, is with an application, and then you put down a deposit that holds your spot. We only have 10 spots. Well, we have 10 rooms. If you want to bring a +1 to sleep in your room with you, that's completely up to you. And then we have extra spots. We can't go over, how big is our van, Lise? 14 person van, I want to say.
I want to say 14,
Yeah.
16.
Yeah. So we can do 10 riders and 4 +1s. Something like that.
Something like that. You can confirm that with Alberto down
I
there.
will. I'll confirm the van size with him when I'm down there. So if however you want to pay the whole amount, so typically what happens is people will put their deposit down, and then we have a deadline of like 6 weeks before the trip that we ask for the rest of the tuition to be paid. If you want to pay it early, which helps us make arrangements, then we'll give you a $500 discount. So in other words, if you put your $500 deposit down soonish and you pay the rest of the amount by the 15th of September, then the cost of the trip is only $3,997. So it goes down. So so that's if that's confusing, you can ask a question about that. But basically, yeah, Tori.
I just lost you. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there,
Yes.
I got you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I found you. Okay, sorry.
So
I was
glad
like,
you
oh,
found me.
where'd you go? Okay, sorry.
I hate it when I'm lost.
Yeah,
And I've been lost on all 7 continents. So
okay, so
so if you want to bring someone with you who's not a writer, for example, they're not going to participate in the writing classes, and they're not going to participate in the cluster dinners. So when we're paying for a big cluster dinner, where we're all together with Lisa, Laura, or me, they're just your person, your kiddo, your spouse, your partner, your friend, whatever. They can come and stay in your room for $1,797. They do get to come with us on all of the adventures.
And it does cover like their lunches and stuff.
It covers
on
their
those
lunch.
adventures,
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. So if we're out at Monte Albano and we stop at the mole buffet on the way back, it covers that for them. So it covers any of the adventures that we go on, but they're not doing the writerly things per se. So so think about that if you have a buddy that you want to bring along. There's 2 beds, I think, in most of the rooms.
Yeah, most of them, although some of them only have one king size bed.
Yeah, but many of them have more than one bed. So if you're going to bring along a buddy, let us know. I mean, I'm not trying to pry, but what kind of buddy it is, because if you need 2 beds, we want to make sure to reserve one of those rooms for you. So how to apply to come, and why do we have an application? We have an application because this is a high walking trip. Okay. So, Oaxaca is not a handicap accessible place, which isn't to say that it can't be managed by someone who is differently abled. It's just to say that there aren't ramps for wheelchairs, and there may be an elevator in this hotel, but I can't think that there is one. So, but there are ground floor rooms. So point here being that we need to make sure, we don't want anyone to get hurt. We want to make sure that people understand the parameters of the trip. So we want you to apply so we can reach out to you and have a conversation. You can ask us questions, we can ask you questions, and we can collaborate in deciding whether or not this is the best trip for you. So we invite you to fill out an application, And then we'll reach out to you. We'll connect with you. It'll just be a phone call. We're not interviewing you. We're just like, hey, it's so great to, talk to you, just to make sure that you get your questions answered. And so do we. And then when we're like, we would love to have you along, then you can pay your $500 deposit. There's a link for that we'll send to you. And then you get to come with us to Oaxaca. We'll start filling you in all of the specific details and get you up to speed. Did I forget anything, Lise?
Nope,
No?
I think you got it.
Okay, awesome. I'm so excited to be going back to Oaxaca. I'm excited to be going tonight. I get on the train at 10. I'll be there with Alberto probably tomorrow night. I'll have dinner with him or Tuesday night, and we'll start planning this whole thing out. I mean, we're old news to him. He already has the plans and works, but we're changing up a couple things this time, so
Yeah.
it'll be kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, how about you,
Exciting.
Laura? Anything or any other questions or? No? Okay. Awesome. So Lisa, you'll send this out to people who signed up but didn't make it to the video, to the live. And Tori, if you have a friend you think who might want to come, let them know. Yeah, you have a question?
Well, did Lisa give the dates?
Oh, so
Date.
it looks like December 1st through 10th, but I'll be doing a little bit of research while Cammie's down there, and we'll determine if it's that or November 30th, because sometimes it's a little bit cheaper to go on a Saturday rather than a Sunday. So I need to just look up a few airline prices, and then she'll confirm those dates while she's down there this week.
Yeah.
So,
And
but an arrival date of either November 30th or December 1st
yeah.
through the
And then-
9th or 10th.
And then another thing to know is that once you sign up to come, then like Lisa and I will share what our travel itinerary is. So if you and Laura's too, because we'll know what Laura's is, because we'll make her plans. So that way, if other people want to try and be on the same flight with us, we may go down a couple days early, but at least Lisa will be coming back on the 10th, I'm assuming, right, Lisa, or whenever the last day is.
Yes, most likely.
Most likely, yeah. So, but in any case, we'll share what we've done with, because, since we've traveled as much as we have and always try to find the best route. And by that, I mean, like, not just the most economical financially, but also with the fewest stops. And we now know which airports are easier and harder to go in and out of.
Yeah.
So-
The two out of the US typically are either Houston or LA.
Right.
Because
And so-
both of those have direct flights to Oaxaca, so you don't have to stop in Mexico City.
Yeah. And so the one thing we'll do is that before we all go, we'll even have a meeting or two with everybody who's going. So it's not like the first time you'll meet each other, we'll be down there. We'll actually have some prep meetings to make sure everyone knows what's going on and they can ask any questions they want. So, sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Can't wait to see who's coming with us.
I know, it's exciting.
It
I'm
is.
excited to be planning it again.
I know, I am too. Okay, friends, well, have a great night, and we will be in touch.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cheers.
Bye.
Bye.